We're about to appear. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Let us know where you are coming in from. If y'all can, just drop it here in the chat. We're so happy to have you.
We see Charles Butler coming in from Virginia. We see Las Vegas in the house. Please let us know where you are coming in from.
And we have actually a wonderful show tonight. We put together a panel for you guys because we've been talking about the hashtag no more getting it out the mud challenge. And we wanted to introduce you to people. And this is going to be very informational. And they're already working in different arenas, and they're going to connect the ideas that we've been speaking about all month and showing you their different ways that they actually leverage multiple streams of income, network, and how they invest. So we think this is going to be an awesome opportunity for you guys just to get some ideas and even connect with them and their platforms and their information. And we have a wonderful panel of not only us as women, but some men that have actually given us our time and going to ingratiate with some information for all the men that join us tonight.
Yes, and I also wanted to recognize that tonight's panel is, in honor of Black History Month. We usually do this for Black History Month to talk about Black wealth and Black literacy. And so we have a panel full of just amazing, African American people who are crushing it in the financial space and in the financial field. And I wanted to, I'm sorry, guys. And I wanted to let you know that if you have questions during the live, I am keeping track of your questions and we will circle back to them towards the end. If there's some that we might pop up and answer throughout, we'll do that. But please don't think that your questions are being overlooked. We are keeping track and seeing them.
And if you have questions for the panel, we will also, if they mention something that you are very interested in, let them know if you have questions directly with them, and we will also actually get that going. Maybe if we have enough time, we can drop the StreamYard link if somebody really have questions and want to talk to one of the panel members and ask them for their advice. So we don't want to hold you long. We really respect your time and the guest time, and we're going to bring them up. We just want to ask you, if you're catching this live later on, always remember, you guys, we do monitor to see where everybody is joining us from so we can improve on our times in order to accommodate everybody that join us. We really appreciate it. So Diamond,
thumbs up too.
Oh yes, please, you guys, hit the thumbs up for us. It is free 99 to do that. So please hit the thumbs up. It helps the algorithm and let other people get the alerts to know that we are live. Thank you so much. So Diamond, I'll let you do the honors with your beautiful self. It's always let beauty before age, but it's for beauty. But you'll be the beauty tonight. I'll take my turn next time.
Well, I think we'll call up. Should we do? I don't know if we'll do one at a time and just introduce everyone. Give them a second to just to say who they are, where they're from.
Yes, and we'll bring the next member up.
Yeah. So Coco, I just want to bring you up first. Ladies first.
Ladies is always first. My God, it's the beautiful. If y'all don't know, the infamous and a winner of the Apollo, an entertainer, an entrepreneur, one that even knows about accounting, the entertainment industry, networking, event planning. Because she's the one that taught me that you got to lay all your skills out.
Yeah.
The beautiful Coco Wade.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I don't know how I'm going to follow up to that, Sherry. Diamond, help me. Thank y'all so much. So yeah, I am Coco Wade, and just for clarity purposes, I was honored to grace the stage at the Apollo, and that was just October 30th recently. I placed, so I'm still in competition mode, but you guys continue to support me, and I'm sure I'll take home a win. I am the editor in chief of Exposed Magazine. I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm sorry. I have been an entrepreneur since January 30th of 2007. Full time. I've never looked back. I've worked with over 2,000 individuals in the talent entertainment industry, as well as small businesses and startups. For me, I focus on longevity. And so I hope that through some of my books and my hands on coaching and listening to the greatness that's coming from tonight's panel, again, thank you, Sherry and Diamond, for making this happen, especially on Black History Month. Huge, and especially what's happening in the world today. This is amazing.
Well, we thank you. And I just want to talk about it just really quickly to plug on the theme of we talk about no more getting it out the mud. Coco, the way we crossed her is from me launching out with a viral video on Facebook, if y'all don't know. And then I came over here on YouTube and I really wanted to order my put my content in order, and YouTube allowed me to do that. But I met Coco through Donetta, and she invited me to an event. So if y'all want to talk about networking, and she invited me to speak at an event. And that is where I met Coco. We met Coco maybe what back in 2000. My God, how long ago
I
was
want
that?
to say 15. When was it,
No,
Diamond?
it was
It's
before 15, before you graduate. It might have been 14, 15.
14, 15.
It was 14 for 14. And we've been connected ever since. And I am so grateful, you guys. And this is what we talk about, the no more getting it out the mud. Tara Murphy, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Sarah.
the super chat. We really appreciate you, Tara. Thank you. And this is what we want to say about the no more getting it out the mud challenge, just making connections. And I to actually go into New Orleans to meet Coco, and at that event it was such a blessing. You know, me, Diamond, and I believe, did Faith come with us? I believe Faith came with us. We launched out there, and I did it. I wasn't getting paid for it. I went for the opportunity to
Mhm.
network. So I just want y'all to know. And from that point, Coco, Diamond modeled with her and just learned for her as an assistant. And we learned so much from Coco. So I'm excited to talk about, because she's an expert on, when I tell you you don't need money but connections,
Yes.
she's the queen of connections. I'm
Yes.
going to be honest. I never, Coco, I just want to touch this. We went to California. She had her event. We went on this circuit, and I picked a bad hotel because I was not experienced on, the different ways. And a lot of my California people, LA, y'all know Hollywood could be sketchy.
Mm.
And I just, I'm not knowing the area. I didn't know where I was staying. And something went, wrong with that hotel. And Coco was at another hotel, and she leveraged her connection to be able to give us a discount on our whole stay. And so she is that woman. And when we were out there, remember, it was like that a museum out there that you were even able to leverage your connection. And that's where you had another event in that time. And it was just about her connections. And it was no money involved. And she is where I really learned that idea. And she would teach us. She said, I know y'all are on the internet, but I still believe in shaking hands. And would you expound on that, Coco?
Yes. So I'm so glad you said that because I did an interview on CBS, and it was Atlanta News First. And we were talking about the fact that you don't have to have money to start a business. In fact, you don't even need money to make money. I know you heard it before. It takes money to make money. Okay, so it's true, but not entirely in the beginning phases. One thing that I have done is, in saying I've worked with over 2,000 people, I have a pretty good success rate helping people as an idea catalyst and a cash flow catalyst. So I never prayed to be rich. I would enjoy being rich, I'm sure, but my focus was longevity, sustainability, building a legacy, something that my children and heirs could walk into and also make money without the concern of where will I get the next dollar and will I be indebted to someone's job if I didn't want to. And using those resources, becoming resourceful has been my token to longevity for almost 2 decades. And I come from a 15-year accounting career where in corporate I had a cushy salary. So I changed and was able to triple my income. I never even missed the good money in accounting because I already had the network and the resources. And so when you're out there and you're building relationships, I believe in a handshake. You nurture these relationships. Everyone like us who are here helping people and feeding the souls of individuals who are hopefuls and who aspire to do great things, we do selfless acts. We don't gatekeep, right? You pay it forward. There's enough money out here for everyone. And I look at the fact that each one, reach one, teach one. Together we achieve more. That's so important. And it's kept me grounded. It's kept me youthful and peace-minded. And it's built a lot of legacy for me and my children and those that I've come across, including interns, like working with Diamond in the early onset of her graduating high school. And there are many others, but ultimately I will show up, knock on the door, briefcase in hand, literature, shake hands, hug tight, grab food, send gifts, and we call and we talk, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, but maybe once a year, but we will connect in real life in real time. And then we go on to digital business because we do all of it.
Yeah. Thank you. And Diamond reminded me, and I don't know if you want to bring it up on Coco. I don't know if we need to tease this. Coco had a billboard.
Yes.
All off of a relationship. We're just going to pause that right there just to tease y'all, because we're going to let her come in with that, and beauty products that she launched in a actually nationwide, just stores nationwide. So we want her to expound on that. So we're going to tease y'all with that information. And Coco never revealed to me how she did all of that, but she's going to let me know what she can tonight. You might, the game is sold sometime and not told. So, you let us know what you can, what you can let us in. But she's going to expound on that. And Coco, we're going to also bring up some of the other guests. So y'all hold on. This is Coco Wade, and we're going to come to our next guest.
Yes. And I also wanted to, real quick before we do, because I got to give flowers where flowers is due. Coco gave me an opportunity to work with her, to travel with her. And the experience that I gained with working with Coco and Exposed Magazine opened so many doors for me, even in the job space. And then, like, that was always they're like, wow, you did that. And so when people would see my resume, they would be like, how old are you again? You've done a lot. But that was always the work that I did under Coco and with Coco was the highlight for many opportunities that I had. So I have to say that 100%.
Thank you, Diamond. God bless you. And thank you for all that you've done, because you've helped me as well. I couldn't be here without you.
Thank you, Coco. Okay, I'm going to bring up, we have our next guest, and I'm going to be bringing up Ricardo. So Ricardo, if you could just introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, if you're comfortable with doing that, and tell us what you do. Oh, wait, 1 second, Ricardo, you muted. Oh, hold on. There we go.
There you go.
Awesome. I've been excited, man, to be here, man, this evening. Honored to be on the panel, and Coco Jones, that was beautiful stuff. Made me think of your network is your net worth, and that's powerful. I'm coming out of DMV, DC, Baltimore, Maryland, Virginia area. Specialize in helping people build wealth from precious metal assets, and teaching blockchain and crypto education. Been doing this for since 2018, having a lot of success right now as we see what, the administration that's in crypto, and obviously what's going on with metals. And, it's something that is the perfect time right now for people to really understand what's going on with the monetary system and how they can actually, save their money in an asset like gold and silver, and take advantage of, the blockchain and crypto space. So that's the area I'm specializing in right now.
And one thing about Ricardo, just talking about making connections, he connected with me just through social media. He just you caught a video where I was talking about silver and gold.
Yeah.
And he reached out and shared with me an opportunity, and I still use that today. So this shows you, and he actually just added on something I already was doing, and that was collecting like in gold and silver. But he even showed me a different way to just automate and have that come to you. And we're going to touch on that because this is a credit channel. And if y'all don't follow Ricardo, y'all need to, because he really goes in depth about the monetary system. And a lot of us think that your cash, I'll hear a lot of people, and Ricardo can back this up. Oh, I don't deal in credit, I deal with cash. Your cash ain't nothing but credit. That's the problem that you're actually seeing today with this high inflation. Yeah. You and that credit card is the same as that $20 bill, baby. It's no different because they just print it out of thin air. And so this is what he's talking about, investing in precious metal. Him and myself, we make it a habit out of our income is to trade that for real currency. Yeah. Real, like, because the dollar is currency. It's really not money. It's not a store of your economic value. And so what we do is get silver and gold. And as Robert Kiyosaki said, that's God's money. You want to invest in things that have real value. So if this money system crash, guess what? You still have control of the value. And Ricardo, you got anything to add on that? Because I know that is your lane.
Yeah, no, we live in the largest wealth transfer in history right now. And it's important that people really understand the difference between fiat currency and money. Gold and silver is God's money, mentioned from Genesis to Revelations. It's constitutional money, okay? Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. It's been money since the times of Egypt. There's nothing new that happened under the planet where gold and silver, doesn't have value. It's money all over the world. And even right now, the Bank of International Settlements, which is the central bank for central banks, label gold a tier 1 asset, which means there's zero risk associated to it. And so right now in the climate that we're in, with a lot of volatility, uncertainty, financial crisis, inflation, everything else, you want to preserve your wealth, your equity, that sweat equity, that work that you're doing, is something that will have value. Especially if we're having what we're seeing right now, which is a shift, a reset in the monetary system. So, that education on, like Sherry was saying about the dollar is not really money. It used to be money when it was backed by gold. It's no longer backed by gold. The dollar, that's what gave it its value and credibility across the globe, is that the world could exchange it for money, which was gold. The dollar is really IOU. It's a certificate, for the gold. But now it's not. It's just a unit of debt. In fact, most people don't understand that the Federal Reserve is a private bank, and their product is the dollar, which is debt. And you have to pay that debt back to the Federal Reserve plus interest that never existed in the first place. And then you're taxed on it. So you have to get smarter about how you preserve your wealth and have it grow for you without exposing it to risk. And that's why we're seeing gold, take off to all-time highs right now, close to $3,000 an ounce. But it's also critical that people get educated on the blockchain, okay? Because nobody's coming to save you. And right now, the economy that we're in right now, the most valuable asset is education, is your understanding, following the right people, getting the right information, acquiring the right assets. If you do that, you're going to put yourself in position to maybe even thrive from what's to come, as opposed to getting wiped out or suffering. So you're 100% right. It's important that people really understand the problem so they can appreciate the solution that's being presented to them, because this is the time to take action.
And that is awesome. And so that is his introduction, and that is Ricardo. And we want you guys to really listen to all the panelists. And we have another panelist that's coming up. Diamond is going to introduce Chris. He is last, but he is not least. And we want to give him a chance to give his opportunity and what he has for you. And he's here on YouTube, so we want you to follow him also. Welcome, Chris.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. First off, ladies, thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Diamond. I appreciate the invite. So thank you. Here at Financipation, I teach you how to make money, how to save money, how to invest money, how to build generational wealth, and how to financially emancipate yourself from generational poverty. So I talk about the entire gamut of financial literacy, everybody. I talk about from the day your children are born to how to go to college for free, to essentially how to build generational wealth, how to pick that six-figure career, whether it's blue collar, becoming an electrician, or whether it's white collar, going the mechanical engineering to MBA route that I went. And also how to start businesses and pretty much how to build generational wealth. In the Black community, we had literally hundreds of years where we were denied the ability to build generational wealth. And the beautiful thing about today is that despite all the stuff that's kind of going on in America today, this is the easiest time in America to become wealthy if you are a person of color. And I walk you through all the different ways you can kind of do that, from whether it's investing in the ETFs, passively managed index funds, whether it's investing in the real estate, whether it's starting a business, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's investing to what I call the 3 pillars. I teach you how to do all that stuff on my channel. So I'm looking forward to this conversation, ladies. And thank you for having me. I'm going to get a shout out as well from the 305. So, yeah.
Yes. And really quick, someone's asked, will there be links for making these investments in gold and silver? Yes. So Ricardo, if you want to drop your link down in the comments section below, please do. And for Chris, I wanted to go back and to say that, again, with the networking. So we met Chris actually at FinCon, which is a conference for people in the financial space over in Atlanta. And we just kept in touch. And so it's just amazing to see, like we said, our challenge for this month and ongoing is no more getting it out the mud. And so we're really utilizing like the strength of just your network and coming together. So I do have a few questions that I kind of cherry picked through that I would like for everyone to kind of be able to touch on. And the first question, since everybody here is in the financial space, what do you think is the biggest financial myth within our community? So within the Black community, within minority communities, that needs to be broken?
Does anyone go first?
Anyone want to go?
I'll go first with that. I think the biggest lie that I was always taught and told was that it's hard the stock market is challenging and hard. Full disclosure, I've always been good in math. I'm an engineer and I did get my MBA. So for what it's worth, I guess I've always been good at math, whatever that means. But it's extremely easy to get wealthy in the stock market. And the stock market is extremely easy. They take basically $5 words and basically put $500 words in front of them to make it sound complicated. But the system that I teach, I basically break down somewhat complicated concepts and make it seem extremely easy. So you can talk to your boys in a barbershop. You can talk to Tyrone on the block about it. You can talk to pretty much anybody. I make very somewhat challenging concepts that they try to make in finance that seem quote unquote hard. I break them down and make them very easy. So to me, that is the biggest myth about the Black community, about financial literacy. People, it is extremely easy. And that's something that I tell everybody before I start doing my one-on-ones and my sessions with them, before I start any podcast that I drop.
Love that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ricardo.
No, I was saying it's awesome. Oh, that's fire. And I would have to say myself, I would think we kind of mentioned it earlier, is that, the dollar isn't money. That we think that the dollar is money. I think that once you have that paradigm and that mind shift about, the difference between debt versus money, you start to operate differently because you realize what you're holding, what you're relying on for your retirement, for, your future is really losing value because of inflation. It's a unit of debt. It forces you to think differently about how you build your wealth, how you save, how do you prepare for your future, especially as you understand, that the more money they create, the more debt is in the system, the less value, the less purchasing power the money you have. So the more government spending, the more creation of money is really inflationary. It's dollar purchasing power negative. And so if you're not gaining a rate of return greater than inflation, you're losing money. But a lot of people believe that they're saving money when they save dollars, and you're not. You're saving debt, and it's losing value the longer you save it. So to me, one of the biggest things that impacted me was 2008, financial crisis. And I would hope that a lot of people have woke up from that, because, everything was good until it wasn't. AAA ratings for the housing, and everybody thought the market would continue to go up, and then we know what happened. People lost their 401k for their retirement. People were ready to retire, they couldn't. People lost their homes, they lost their jobs, and understand they never fixed anything. All they did was print more money, bailed out the banks, and they didn't change any laws. I mean, they gave us Bernie Madoff, but they just reinflated, and he wasn't even a banker. He had nothing to do with it. Afraid to borrow, printed more paper. Crisis after crisis. Oh, okay, yeah, crisis after crisis scenario, and it's coming to a point where we're seeing a reset. This is something that people have been knowing it was coming for a while. They thought 2008 was it, but I believe this is it. We're on a precipice of a total reset of the financial system, and it's important that you're just hedged. You diversify and you're hedged, and one of the best ways to do that is with a tier one asset, like gold, and obviously the most undervalued physical asset on the planet, which is silver. So yeah, the dollar's not money. It's not money, and don't confuse the two.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, another thing I want to bring up as well too is that another issue that I find in our community, because once again we were literally stripped of the ability to be able to build wealth for hundreds of years in this country. A lot of us we want to get it really quickly. I think in the Instagram microwave society that we live in, a lot of people are taught, okay, I need to make my money, I need to get the bag, I need to do this, I need to by any means necessary. But something I always tell people is that, look, to all my parents that are out there, if you put the day your baby is born, if you put $1,000 into a brokerage account for them, you basically invest $250 every month. The day they turn 18, they're going to have $250,000 waiting for them. If you put $1,000 a month in there, they're going to have $1 million waiting for them the day they turn 18. So all my parents that are listening to this podcast right now, how many of you guys would like to know that the day your baby turns 18, they would have anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million waiting in their bank account, guaranteed, based off of the compound interest effect of what the stock market has been doing since the 1970s. And when I talk to Black people like that, they're like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me all I got to do is just click a mouse and every month basically put a pair of Jordans essentially into the stock market for my kids, and they could be a millionaire the day they turn 18? And I'm like, yes, this is how you do it. When I was growing up playing ball and lifting weights and boxing, doing all that kind of stuff, I never heard this kind of stuff when I was young. But when I got older and I started understanding pretty much the way the market works and the way this knowledge is not being taught to our people, I was like, cool, I got to take this all over the world. So that's what I want to tell my parents. Sometimes it's about slow and steady wins the race, and it's about understanding pretty much how the stock market works and how business works and how to legally lower your taxes and minimize your taxes. And that's just a little quick point I want to make. It's another financial myth in our community as well.
Yep. Thank you
for Coco, that. Yes. And Coco, your perspective also on Diamond, once again, the proper term, what is the biggest financial myth that you feel that us, Black Americans, or as you see for Black History Month, what do you feel like our community is told? The biggest financial myth?
Oh, 1 second, Coco. You were muted. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. So I think the biggest financial myth for our community particularly is that you have to have all this money to make money. You have to have a substantial amount of money before you get started and to make money. I'll give you an example. In 2007, when I started as a full-time entrepreneur, because I had what they consider side hustles before that, while I worked in accounting just for the leisure lifestyle for me and my kids. But when I started as an entrepreneur full-time and relying solely on my skills, talent, and experiences, that challenged me to figure out how to get the money. And again, out the mud. If you go to my website, it will tell you I use the stick in the mud approach, because that's what I knew as a self-taught entrepreneur coming from a 15-year accounting background. So I used $200 to purchase yard signs. And after I purchased those signs, the city kept throwing them away. I didn't realize that there was a different protocol until I learned, and then I did the new protocol. But that $200 for those yard signs brought me $10,300. And that was one of many opportunities that I had to do that over and over and over again. And so I realized, like you mentioned earlier, one of the gentlemen, when you were talking about the Jordans and then your children, becoming financially positioned to get either 250,000 when they get to be 18, or becoming, a millionaire. The same theory with the Jordans is what I paid for the signs. And I learned something that day, that I was able to take $200, the same 200 I would spend at the mall, and come up empty, because I walk out with this bag. And then it's not appreciation value on any level. It depreciates the minute you leave out. So I started thinking differently. I had a mind shift. Thus my book, 12 Laws of Entrepreneurship, The Mind Shift of a Millionaire. You have to shift your thinking process, and you have to understand it doesn't take a lot of money. It takes a lot of guts, though. It takes a lot of guts to believe in yourself, to take the first leap of faith, to shake hands, to understand you're going to be told no, probably one yes per 100 no's. You're going to have doors close, and then doors will open, and you'll elevate. And then, failure. I heard a quote from Denzel Washington. Failure is absolutely necessary to succeed. And so don't be afraid of that. Embrace it, learn from it, and then move on. That's how you elevate. But yeah, it doesn't take a lot of money, sometimes none. And I know Diamond teaches on that as well, how you can create passive income. Thus my other book, Never Broke Again, Passive Income Trends. But I love seeing that we can, as a culture, make money with little to no money, and then start to flip, and then start to make your money work for you, and things like that with the gold and investments and stocks. And once you get it, but you don't have to wait to get started, because the money is there waiting for you.
Thank you, Coco. That was awesome. And even with that question, Diamond, do you want to answer, or because I would like to also, me and you gonna actually give our perspective on that. And one of the things I want to give on that perspective is with our community, one of the biggest myths about that in our community, I feel, is feeling that you have to be old to buy a home. That's one of the biggest myths. And that credit is evil. I'm going to tell you, credit is the biggest hustle, that if you know how to leverage, you need to leverage no other way, that you don't have to work to get cash. Like the mindset, and that I think I don't talk about it much. I had Diamond at 19 years old. And by me having Diamond, a lot of people saying being a single mom, I think she was one of my greatest gifts, because it forced me to get serious. I knew I had to put her in a better situation. And credit was my way to obtain an asset to this day that creates me not only cash flow, but also build wealth. And instead of y'all getting in student loan debt, like I said, my mother added me on as an authorized user. I merely only had a student loan, maybe some student loans that I made sure that they were in forbearance and paid on time, in a credit card. And I had enough credit with a 650 credit score to buy a home. That's it. With FHA, 3% down. So the money that y'all putting out for apartments, you can actually control an asset and also cash flow. So most people want to go after a single family. A lot of y'all don't know, just with your credit going for a multifamily, when you put that down on paper, that income is equated to you. You ain't making no money. I don't get it. It's 50,000 I was making, no, 40,000. They looked at the rental value and they accounted the rents that I didn't even control and added to my income, so I can actually now obtain a home that I lived in one unit in a better community. I got 2 additional cash flows I ain't have to work for. I never paid for a mortgage in my life to this day. Leverage that to buy a second multifamily, and they were all tax write-offs. Catch that. And tax write-offs. So instead of y'all constantly going after a job, I understood to leverage the job to get the multifamily, and then that multifamily can pay for Diamond, always tell you, I always pretty much since in my early 20s been in a BMW, and I'm talking about a truck. And I'm not saying that as a flex, but I don't pay for it. So a lot of what people are getting into problems with your credit, you're buying crap. I'll be honest. You need to stop taking your credit to get liabilities and leverage it for assets. Like me and Ricardo is saying, yo, cash. A lot of y'all keep saying, I just want to deal in cash. Baby, it's credit. We're trying to let you know there is really no difference between your dollar and that credit card whatsoever. The banks, they're just making it out of thin air. Your problem is what you're buying with your credit. So understand the difference. You go to that car dealership, baby, it ain't hard to get a car because they got to move them. They sit there. The longer they sit there, the more they depreciate. But go to that mortgage banker. Ask them about those assets and see how they treat you differently, because there's a difference. You want to get assets with your credit and not liabilities. Leverage your credit for business and stop just chasing this nonsense. You just can't work for the rest of your life. Credit, unbeknownst to a lot of you, because you've just been taught wrong, is actually the biggest gift, because you can get access. I got access with just fronting $40,000 a year, and I got access to $100,000 value, $169,000 value home that's almost breaking $1 million today, and it makes me money. So I didn't have to work. I ain't have to save. You can't outwork this inflation. You're gonna have to think it, and your credit is the way to do it. And I'll land. That's the biggest myths I know.
Yeah, no, thank you for saying that. Everyone pretty much took up all the good answers. So I agree with a little bit of everything what everybody said. For me, I would say that there isn't a one size fit all way of building wealth, a one size fit all way of being successful, because times change so many different times. So it's like in my grandparents' time, I seen someone say that their biggest myth was go to college and get a good job. But it might have worked at that time. Things are changing so rapidly, and with technology, they're changing so rapidly. And so some people may say, well, the best way to get rich is to be a content creator, or the best way, to do these things. I believe that you got to consult your God. You got to consult God on what is the best way for you to go and the path that he wants to take you into. And there's so many different things. Like everybody here has a different story, has a different background, and has a different way of how they got to where they are. And so you got to listen to what you can actually do, the skills that you actually have, and leverage those skills to be able to work for yourself, leverage those skills to be able to teach other people how to do what you do, and then do the things to then invest so that that money can be reoccurrent for you. However you do that, that doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow to start a business. That doesn't mean, that if you started a business, I've seen a lot of people where their business just started to decline, and they had to go back to work, and how much shame they felt about that. But whatever you got to do to get to where you need to be, go do what you need to do to get where you need to be. And so when people ask me, well, what's the best side hustle? What's the best thing to do? The one that you're going to actually stick with, the one that you're going to actually pursue and keep going into with persistence, consistency, and being persistent in it. So, and being resilient in it. Like Coco said, it takes grit. It takes you going through, and a lot of it is trial and error. And so just see everything in every position as an opportunity, and how can I leverage that opportunity? Even the things that you see as a fail is not a fail. It's an opportunity that you learn, like, hey, I just learned not to do it that way no more, and to do it a different way. You know what I mean? And so to open your eyes, to not be so negative, but see that everything is a blessing, and it's an opportunity in front of you to learn and get better, and to leverage it for something else. So that would be my that's my answer to that.
And that's a great answer. And I also, Ready Fit, thank you so much. I saw Ready Fit with a super chat. We really appreciate you, and we really appreciate all your support. So I definitely want to acknowledge anybody that took the time to give a super chat.
Yes.
And Diamond, what is your next question for the panelists?
So my next question would be, right now, a lot of people are in debt. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and they want to invest. They want to do something else so that they can start building wealth. But what is a way? It almost seems like that paycheck to paycheck can be a terrible cycle that you just seem stuck in. So what are some ways that people can actually break out of that cycle? What are those first steps? Anyone can take a stab at that.
Or Chris, or we'll go around if you want. We'll go to Chris and then, yeah.
Cool. All right, so the system I would teach you to do is this. First and foremost, you need to create a budget. So by creating a budget, you're going to figure out how much money you have coming in, how much money you have coming out. That's the first thing you should do. Secondly, prior to you even get to the paycheck to paycheck route, you should have already picked, to some extent, a career, whether that's you being blue collar. I was blue collar for a little bit, or whether you go the corporate America route. You should have a income producing skill in the 21st century that allows you to basically provide for your girl, provide for your family, provide for your kids and everything. And keep it moving. You should have, I would say, a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. And if that should allow you more or less to get out of this quote unquote paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. But from a perspective as far as actually getting out of that, I would say no matter how quote unquote broke that you are, you should always be investing into certain small things. So for instance, if you work in a company that offers you a 401k, I don't care whether you're in debt or you're not, you should be investing up to the 401k match. Why? Because it's literally free money. If I were to walk up to you, Diamond, or if I were to walk up to you, anybody, and say, okay, here's $5,000 on Valentine's Day, I'll give you $10,000 if you give me $5,000 on Valentine's Day on Christmas Day. Name one of you that would not take that deal. I give you $5,000 on Valentine's, and essentially I'm going to give you $10,000 on Christmas Day. Why? Because it's $5,000 of free money. So invest into your 401k match. Additionally, if you're a man or a woman, you should, if you are living paycheck to paycheck, this is America. What I mean by that is this: you can always get a construction job, you can always write a book, you can always create an e-product, you can always do Uber Eats, you can always essentially get a second job. And by doing that, I don't expect you to do this for perpetuity or for 10 or 20 years, but you should be able to do this for a time period until you pay off the debts that are keeping you quote unquote in debt. And then from there, you should be able to start just investing like crazy into whatever form of investments you want to do. Another thing I also tell people as well, and Diamond, you made a good point about this, is that what's the best side hustle? The side hustle is what you're passionate about. Start a business, everybody. I don't care whether you work in corporate America, whether you're doing the 9-to-5 thing, whether you're a content creator. Everybody in America that's listening to what I'm saying should start a business. Why? Because if you start a business, you get taxed. If you start a business, you get to spend your money first and then you get taxed. But if you're like every other W-2 employee, you get taxed first and then you get to spend your money. And on top of that, the tax code essentially is literally set up in America to reward business owners. The reason why Elon Musk is the #1 welfare recipient in America is because he's a business owner. And if you are a business owner, literally the laws from a SEP IRA perspective, the laws from a tax flow perspective, the laws from a cash flow perspective are literally in your favor. So start a business. So that's what I would say do it, Diamond. Create a budget, lower your expenses, try to cut your debt as much as possible, and figure out a way to constantly invest at least 1 to 2% of your income every paycheck. And if you do that over a period of time and you start a business, literally capitalism in the world is going to eventually be yours. And you might have to be lonely for a little bit as well, fellas, but don't worry, the girls, they'll show up later eventually. When you start stacking your bread, you take care of your body. So yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else want to go ahead and answer that?
Yeah, that was a fire answer, by the way. You covered a lot in that one. I think if you were on the right direction with that. I always say, look, if you're relying on one stream of income, you're a disaster waiting to happen anyway. And especially in this economy. Obviously we talk about inflation a lot. And the thing about the economy that we're moving into that people need to understand is, the jobs market is not ever coming back the same way that we think it is, because of AI, because of automation, because of robotics. During the industrial era, they needed your manual labor. They needed you to do things. They no longer need manual human labor. They literally, Elon Musk is coming out with the robots, the chips connect to your brain. Even in the factories right now, they have, the robots and AI doing everything. So the whole economy is changing. The whole business model, the matrix, the way society functions is changing right before your eyes. So you have to reskill. You know, and you have to, you definitely have to, you know, make that sacrifice and invest in the future, invest in that technology, because that's the quickest way to get you out of that situation right now. And the opportunity that we have, if you acquire the right assets right now, can change your life forever, because we are in the largest wealth transfer ever in human history right now. The time period that we're alive in right now will be talked about, debated, and studied for centuries. And it's the people who have actually acquired the assets of the future that are on the blockchain, the digital assets, the physical assets, and of course the education, the reskilling. You know, those are the people that are going to be better off. You know, than somebody who's waiting for somebody, you know, to give them a paycheck, or, you know, waiting for a job. You know, but definitely you know, whether you're start doing affiliate marketing, or, you know, you're on a 1099 basis on some gig work, which a lot of people, you know, just naturally feel like they have to make money. The next thing you're doing Uber or Lyft, or, you know, some Instacart, they're figuring out some way. So that's the start. But what you have to do is like, I believe Sherry was saying earlier, that you can't outwork inflation or something to that effect, right? So you have to make sure that while you're you know, that discretionary income, that extra money you might have, you have to deploy that capital into assets. You know, if your risk tolerance is low, you know, bring up your education, that'll reduce your risk. But, you know, gold in the last 20 years did about 10% year over year. Silver did about 14% year over year. So if you want to have your money grow for you without exposing it to risk, those are assets that you can do. Now, if you have a little risk tolerance and you want to capitalize on the wealth transfer, you need to get educated on blockchain technology, and you need to invest in the cryptocurrencies that are going to facilitate the actual transition of the whole financial system on the blockchain. There are certain blockchain companies, certain cryptocurrencies that the governments are using, the institutions are using, the banks are using, businesses are using, people are going to be using. That has real use case, utility, and value, and they're massively undervalued right now, because a lot of the actual activity, data, and money hasn't moved on chain yet. Still very early to the space. So, you know, those are some of the things that I would say. You just have to, you know, follow the right people, get the right information, and acquire the right assets, and you're going to be much better than a lot of people, you know, in the world right now, because they just don't know, and they don't have assets in general.
Thank you for that, Ricardo. Coco, do you want to touch on this topic?
On multiple streams of income. I wrote a book, and it's one of the reasons that I was enlightened about join today. The fact that I wrote the book, Never Broke Again, Passive Income Trends. It's 25 simple steps to financial freedom. It gives everyone an opportunity to gain additional income, making money while you're asleep. And it's getting into that evergreen cash space and cash flow type of money for your business and even for yourself. And so if you're living paycheck to paycheck, I believe one of the best ways to get out of that is establishing passive income. And I love today when I heard on this panel about it, not only what you said, Sherry, you can't outbeat inflation. If your money's getting ahead of you in terms of it's racing to the bank, it's an automation, then you never have to worry about trading time for money. And so that would be an option if you want to stay on the job, if you want to use that money to fund something, flip money, or, you know, compound interest, or whatever you want to do with stocks and gold, whatever you need to do to invest. If working can allow you secondary monies, funding, and investment capital, then yeah, but it shouldn't be a main source. And again, I agree with one income is like, it's a train wreck waiting to happen. But when I wrote Never Broke Again, Passive Income Trends, and the 25 Steps to Financial Freedom, in it, it explains what you can do, how to do it, what tools and resources, apps, scenarios of how it's been done. Most of them are real experiences of mine. And I've given comparisons to the competitive market. I've done the market research. And it really is simplified for the average person. I'm not targeting overthinkers like myself, overachievers and thought leaders. I'm targeting the common person. And it's a 45-minute quick read. So it's not one of those books you got to go and read over months, and you're like, oh, will I ever get done? Will I ever figure this thing out? It's a 45-minute quick read. It can be read in any flight departure from A to B. And also, it's broken down in sort of terms where it doesn't matter if you're in high school or you're 50. It doesn't matter. Everyone can understand it. And it's with no fluff, and there's no gatekeeping. So I wanted to cut out anything that got in the way of helping and aiding people to get to where they want to be with at least one, if not 8 or 25 streams of passive income.
Thank you for that. And the link to Never Broke Again by Coco Wade in the comment section over here. If you guys are viewing from Facebook, it might be a little bit of an issue, but we'll make sure that we get all the links to you guys after the live is over. And also, I do see comments and questions, and we will circle back to those. But Mom, I wanted to get your perspective on the question and what you feel is the best way to break out of that cycle.
I think the best way to break out of that cycle is to look at things in these two facets. And one thing, you have is just imagine that there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Wealthy is a concept of time, and being rich is having an abundance of something. So imagine if I just one day gave you 1,000,000 apples. You're rich in apples, but those apples are going to decay, right? So what would you do? Even though I'm rich in apples, you might sell those apples. Say you're trading it for another fruit, oranges. But the wisest thing to do, since I have this abundance in apples, is now put some seed in the ground. Let that grow with time. So when these actually rot out, I have more apples. And so that's how your income is. Yes, you want to have avenues of generating income, but you also want to have wealth. Wealth is over time, those apple seeds are going to grow, and it's going to produce more apples on its own. I might do a little pruning, but still, now I don't have to go out and work for someone to get these apples. I invested with putting them in the ground. So that's the thing that you want to think about your income. It's really simple. And I think one of the places to start, because I want to give things that people can tangibly do for yourself, because people will talk about these ideas, but okay, where do I go from there? And one thing that you need to leverage, and I want people to know, it's almost like in the Bible, it talk about the widow whose husband died. She was in debt. Her sons was in debt. And, she went to the prophet Elisha and said, hey, my husband was a good man. You can be a good person, but financially in a bad space. So don't think that you being in a bad space financially don't make you a bad person whatsoever. But you, as like Diamond said, you want to get with God. And she saw him as an authority for herself for direction. And one thing that he said, what do you want me to do for you? What do you have? And I thought that was weird. I'm like, she's coming to you for answers. He's saying, what do you have in your house? And so I'm asking you guys that same question. What do you have in your house? What is your skill set? If you are being hired by jobs, they're hiring you because you got a skill set. Whatever you're putting on that resume is something you need to look at to leverage and work into innovation. And one thing that was very inspiring me, he told her, go and borrow some vessels and not a few. And when I looked into that vessels, the people that she went to inquire with, and I don't want to get too deep, but that whole thing, that when I really went back and looked at that, they actually went and inquired amongst their own community. This is what I'm talking about, network. And those people gave them empty vessels. These were vessels that they had for storage, for oil. It could have been even held tools. These was things that was already constructed. They thought they had used up, and it meant nothing to them, right? And they just gave, that's why she was able to sell it, because they wasn't looking for it back. And so this was something that already had a use that she turned around and turned into something else. And so just thinking about that principle, we see now one of the biggest sales online, do you know, is vintage clothes? Catch it. Something that people are throwing away, baby, is your way out of debt. And people are doing that. Okay. But he told her to close the door. Sometime y'all need to go and ask, but God ain't giving you all of it, because you'll go and tell your business and run your mouth and tell too much, and they ain't going to give you them vessels. Because one thing about folk, when they figure out you making money off of something, my God, here today, they're not going to give it up. And I come from church. I don't know if y'all don't know about church in the 80s, but church in the 80s, y'all see this? I come from Newark, New Jersey. Holla back. Church in the 80s used to ask people to go around and collect these cans, these empty vessels. And you know what they figured out? I think something, he laughing, Chris laughing because he might know this. The church caught it. It used to have 5 cents because recycling wasn't what it was. Coco know about it. And you know what they said? Y'all go and ask for some vessels. You know what people used to do? Bring in some cans. We used to all get together, get cans. And guess where we used to go? To the coin place. And we would take a trip in the church van, and we got money out of these vessels. Y'all don't know, we done put some seats in the church, some drapes in the church, and bought the drum set, okay? By dealing with some things that other people thought was trash. So is that a way for you? And she sat back. I didn't know that. I thought they went all and asked. No, she sat in the house while the boys went and got them vessels, and she poured. So a lot of y'all got to get them babies to work with you. Let me say it again. You're going to have to get them babies up in your house to work with you. And I said this is talking about getting out of the mud. One of the things we got to kill is this, my independent, getting it by myself. You must work in a community, because there's some work that need to be done that you can't do by yourself. So that's the things that you got to put together. What's your skill set? Then leverage the community. She didn't get it by herself. They went around and asked their community. That inquiring, it's information what you getting now. Y'all being inspired on some things you can do. And I'm going to land it with this. Coco said one of the most valuable things. She created a book. Do you know you have information? Do you know your knowledge in itself is the easiest thing to produce? And it's intellectual property. Do you know my books that I have on Amazon is an inheritance from my children? That's my intellectual property. Do you know when we make these videos, me and Diamond to tell you, one video she made $30,000 because it was our intellectual property. I keep telling y'all, the knowledge that you have is gold. Ricardo told you data, and he said information is the new money. A lot of y'all sitting on a lot of currency, but you too shy. How about it? Nobody watch me. If nobody watch you, ain't nobody seen you. So what are you worried about it for? You're too insecure and worry about what everybody got to say. And most of them people broke anyway. That's why they saying stuff, because they ain't really trying to go nowhere. So they trying to keep you there. You got to shake that loose. And the way that you could figure out what's your biggest asset, what do people ask you to do all the time? And y'all do it for free. I had a friend at one time, and she would tell you, and she was out of work. I'm like, them people come to your house, eat all the time, make them buy a plate. Y'all, come on, y'all got to go back to some of the stuff y'all used to do. The church, just follow the church. The church made some plate. They got the sister that made the good what was that, chopped barbecue? My God, people will pull up to the church for a plate. They say it's your church. Some of y'all can cook. Why you ain't cooking your way up out of debt? God done gave you that gift. You got to leverage. Just think. And Tim Ferriss said it the best. It's called The 4-Hour Work Week. Really great book. If you had a heart condition right now, and they tell you if you work over 4 hours, you're going to drop dead, what would you do to make money? Coco just said a book. A lot of y'all, if you think about a book, something on your knowledge you have, selling it on Amazon for $25 in those 4 hours is $100. And that's all you would have to generate to sell that there, and it come to somebody's door. Do you know how much money you will make in a day? That would be your income. That would be your income. And then you need to chop that down. Now, instead of 4 hours, what would you do in that 2 hours to make your salary each day? And that's all you got to figure out, y'all. And I'll land my plane there. But that's what you have to do.
No, that was good. Yeah, right. That was good. That was good. I'm going to agree with what you said. Everything that you said would be my position. So more specifically, do some type of service-based business, do some type of service-based freelancing, where if you're working a 9-to-5 job, you're still working paycheck to paycheck. First of all, you need to probably look at your finances and see how much money do I actually need to not live paycheck to paycheck anymore, because that could be, maybe you need an extra $1,000 a month. Maybe you need an extra $2,000 a month. Maybe you need an extra $5,000 a month, but you need to have some type of tangible, measurable goal. So if it's $1,000 a month that you need to stop being, paycheck to paycheck, then you need to break that down. 1,000 divided by 30. That's how much money you need to make per day. And now you need to figure out what service can I offer to make that amount of money per day. And it could be something. You could be a virtual assistant. Like I have a virtual assistant, and all she does, she answers emails, but she gets paid every single week by me. We have someone that handles our email marketing now. And even with AI, it's not so much, it's like AI, I use AI a lot to help me generate and organize my ideas. But when it comes to the implementation, I still need people to work and implement at the same time. And so you can be an implementer for the time being, just to make sure that you can get out of that paycheck to paycheck cycle. And then if you end up making $1,000 as a freelancer, or it's just doing a service, whether it's a cleaning business, whatever you have, like my mom said, whatever you have in your house and you, or inside of you in your house, whatever, in your mind, to go ahead and turn that into a service. Then you use that where you don't have to put too much money or invest. And once you start making that money, then you reinvest and you get a little extra, either knowledge, you get a little extra product, you get a little extra something, so that you can start selling that service at a higher level, or getting assistance under you, so this could become a lot more passive. And then you start to use the knowledge that you just use to create that money and go teach people how you did that. So if it was a cleaning business, go teach people how you were able to create a cleaning business. And people will say, well, I'm not a millionaire in this. If you earned $100, that's $100 more dollars than the next person earned in that. And they would like to know, how did you earn that $100? And so, use your skills, use what you have, serve, and then teach people what you just did. And that's a way that you can get out of that. So that would be that's my answer on there. So I have one more general.
And can I just add one thing? And I think it's very important. I just for the audience, and I'm just, it's going to be a little awkward silence. Which one is easier to do? To save up $50,000 or to borrow $50,000 from the bank? Which one in time is quicker? A lot of y'all got to stop playing with your credit. Y'all better stop playing. I keep telling you, your credit is one of the best assets, but y'all not, you're just not leveraging it right. If you will sit down, even if you have to sit down for a year, let me ask you, to fix your credit, is you going to save $50,000 in a year? Some of y'all not making $50,000 in a year. But you can fix your credit to where you can borrow $50,000 in the end of this year. And baby, you can get business credit. A lot of y'all don't understand, and I think I'm trying to tell you, you get that credit right. All you got to do with business credit, tell the banks what you projected. My God, let me say it again. Bring it back. What I project, what I prophesy I'm going to make is $150,000. And they're going to base that credit card off of $150,000. See, y'all want to put down my annual income is. When you could put down, I prophesy I shall make $250,000. Which one is better? Which one? I like the prophesying right there. I speak it. And that's what you could put on the application. I speak 350,000. That's what's in the industry. And they're going to cut you if your credit is right. If your credit is right. 8% of that or 15%. That was for free. If anybody caught it of what you put down. So think about it. This is what we're trying. You need to learn how to leverage, baby. You ain't going to outwork this inflation. Let me tell you, you can't outwork it now because, as Ricardo said, they printing it. Soon as you go to work, they printing it. You save $100,000, they get to printing. Now you only got $50,000 worth of purchasing power. You can't outwork that. You got to outthink it. You got to out leverage it. And as the prophet said to the woman, you better go borrow. What Moses said to the people, go borrow. Some of y'all, the answer is to go borrow. God done told you. Some of y'all done borrowed and did not pay it back. And you know what? That might be okay with God. I don't know. Because they sure didn't pay it back. But now we need to resurrect that credit. You got to resurrect your credit. You can't go back to the Egyptians after you done spoiled them. You better have leveraged that money. Some of y'all leveraged it on Louis Vuitton, and that ain't coming back. You know, if you would have, like some of my brothers that are immigrants, they were doing back in the day, they was borrowing and going home. Ricardo might know, a lot of them was getting their credit up, borrowing, and went on back where they came from, okay? Because they was wise enough to figure out the system. But some of y'all sitting here today, you don't know. If you just get your credit together, you can borrow. But what I'm saying, you got to seed it right. You got to do it right. And take these people on this panel suggestion. You don't put all your eggs in one basket, your skill set in one basket. Do something, put the money to work for you. Don't work on the opposite way. The borrower is slave to the lender. Take that money and make it work for you. And I'll just land there. But that's one of the things, like we're saying, that's what you have to just think about things differently.
Yes. Thank you for that. Yes.
Great tea.
If anyone wants to add to that or have comments about that, please go ahead, and then I have another question for us.
Nope. Got you, Diamond. One thing I would like to say, as far as books and everything, I think I mentioned earlier that I went the college route. So the young ladies talked earlier about the importance of books. Somebody actually a couple years ago said, "Chris, you're always giving people dropping knowledge about how to go to college for free and scholarships. So why don't you write a book about that?" If anyone wants to do it, my book is on Amazon. It's called Scholarships: The Golden Road to Free Money. It can be purchased for $24.99 on Amazon. Once again, it looks like this. And I would say one good thing about books is that when I wrote that book, it's kind of funny, man, that you said that, Sherry, because when I wrote that book, I was like, okay, this is something that my grandkids are going to be eating off of, because everybody that wants to go the college route essentially wants to figure out a way to make it less expensive. And that's something that my kids will be eating off of. So books are one of the best ways to make passive income.
Amen. And that segues us right into my next question. So everyone here, I believe, is either married or have children, except for myself. So the question that I have is, what are the first steps that either you see that people should take, or that you have taken to start building generational wealth for your family? Anyone that wants to go ahead and answer that, please do. Oh,
She's
one
muted.
second, Coco, you're muted. Okay, go ahead.
So thank you. I know that I mentioned I wrote one book, but I actually wrote three. So I'm an avid writer and expert writer, actually. So what I've done is created my magazine. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief for exposedmagazine.net. And the magazine has now celebrated 125 issues. I'm celebrating 14 years. Thank you so much. And I'm the first Black female independent owned and operated magazine publisher coming out of New Orleans. Although my magazine is nationwide, my office is based in Louisiana. And it's a couple of us, not that many, I can count them on one hand, but most of them created quarterly, and I'm one of the only one that do about 18 a year. I'm starting a new magazine because the inventory is exhausted per year, and now we're in 2026 with Exposed Magazine. But selling copies, I just had reorders from an issue that was released about 8 months ago. People will order copies in bulk, and that's of 125 issues. But then my books, like you said, Chris, are another way for my children and my heirs, grandkids to be able to eat off of. And I'm going to continue putting out books. And not just that, whether it's a master course that has a lifetime access, right? And I'm a singer-songwriter. So speaking of not having to have a lot of money, this book, The Power of Music, Money, and Monetization, I wrote that because I am a singer, and my music on YouTube alone has streamed over 22 million times. And I took $10, yes, $9.99 to release on TuneCore. And when I did that, self-taught, not knowing what to do other than there's encryptions and protections and, then getting into copyrights and stuff like that. But I kid you not, through 2015 is when I released my first song with that $10. And every month I still get paid. Right now on the 25th, I'm going to get paid from that $9.99. And I have now 14 songs instead of just that one, but I'm going to continue writing music. So yeah, my music will live and surpass the test of time more than likely, and my books will, and my magazines. And there's so much more that I'm creating using my gifts. And like Diamond said, serving and helping others. So I'm thinking about that every time I create intellectual property. And now I have my first grandbaby. So I'm looking in her eyes every time she smiles, and we're talking ice cream right now, but I'm looking at college tuition, so that's my response to that question about building generational wealth.
That was awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. I would say, well, one, gotta have either a private foundation or a trust, to put these assets in. But the biggest thing for me, it comes down to investing in the future. And so a lot of people don't know that you can actually own the infrastructure of the new financial system by owning like servers or nodes or mining rigs. The thing about blockchain technology, when I talk about the monetary system, is everything is going to be on a blockchain. Literally everything. I mean, they're already talking about putting voting on the blockchain. The whole financial system is going on blockchain. The tokenization of real world assets and securities, everything is on the blockchain. Now, the opportunity that you have by getting on the blockchain is an opportunity that never existed to us before, because generally you had to be an accredited investor to be able to take advantage of the real wealth building opportunities early on. And what the blockchain does, it decentralizes it democratizes it, it fractionalizes it, so anybody can get in. I mean, you can buy a couple of dollars of an asset. When you own the software, when you own the infrastructure, you're getting paid every single day in cryptocurrency. So like one of my generational wealth assets are nodes. So I own a node. It runs on the blockchain. It's facilitating the the transfer of, data and money and, things on that blockchain, and it's going to run for life. As long as I own that software, it's going to run for life, and it's going to pay me in cryptocurrency every single day for the rest of my life and beyond. So, the type of, investments and assets that you can acquire, even when it comes to blockchain and crypto, when you talk about decentralized finance, DeFi, when you deploy your capital into liquidity pools, or when you're either farming or staking, those assets, they're going to work for you, and it's producing more assets for you. So what people have to understand is that everything that we see in the traditional financial system today is now on the blockchain. It's just that now it's decentralized, it's opened up. Anybody and everybody can take advantage. You are the hedge fund manager. You are the private wealth fund manager. You are the bank. But it's you getting the education on knowing how to deploy your capital the same way that the Klaus Schwab or the Fidelity would do in these, pools where you can earn, yield and return on your digital assets. And this space is just getting started. I mean, the blockchain crypto space, like $3 trillion right now. But just in RWAs, which is real world assets, that's a $1.64 quadrillion market. So we're talking about quadrillions of dollars that are going to be flown into the blockchain. And if you're in the right assets and you're in the right projects early on, you're just going to create, massive wealth because of the timing. The assets are not always going to be this cheap. The opportunity is not always going to be this ripe. So it just comes down to, timing and positioning. But so for my loved ones, for my family generation that comes, they're definitely going to own infrastructure, and they're going to own assets. And obviously, real estate and other things, and it's going to be in a private foundation, and that's how I see it running. Yeah.
And that's awesome.
I got you. I guess I'm up next. So I'm gonna walk you guys through just kind of the system that I think about and how I think about this. So first and foremost, if you have a kid, and I kind of said this a little earlier, you should start a UTMA, a Unified Transfer to Minor Act, or a 529 the day they get their Social Security number. Now, there are benefits and pros and cons to both. I can walk you through those at a different time period. But as a father, as a mother, you should start a UTMA or a 529 the day your child gets their Social Security number. And if you got $1,000, put $1,000 into it. And then, as I said earlier, if you invest $250 or $1,000, if you invest $250 into it, into a total stock market index fund that averages about 12%, your child will have about $300,000 the day they turn 18. If you invest $1,000 a month into it, your child will have $1.1 million the day they turn 18. And they can use that money to start a business. They can use that money to become a real estate investor. They can use that money to essentially buy property, land, or even throw it into another fund that's tax efficient, such as a Roth SEP IRA, when they start their business, and just continue to stack paper. So that's what you should do as a parent. Now, let me say to all my parents that are listening, I talked about earlier about the power of compound interest. So let's say you do work in corporate America, right? So let's say you max out your 401k. Let's say you invest money into your Roth IRA. Let's say you invest money into your health savings account, which is your HSA account. Let's say you start a brokerage account. And let's also say that you create a business. And with that business, you start essentially investing into your SEP IRA. And on top of that, when your kids turn a certain age, you basically start paying them a salary. And this also, so I just literally broke down 8 different passive forms of income that you could basically have literally just by waking up and breathing. That's 8 different forms of income. And because it's the stock market, which has historically averaged 12% over the last 50 years, and I was getting about 24% on returns last year with it, that means that's money that's going to essentially double every 6 years off 12% interest rate because of the law of 72. So I just basically broke down 9 different ways you can build. You can basically build generational wealth for your family. And the beautiful thing about it is once you actually start e-products, which is something else that you all should be knowing about, whatever it is that you're good at, whether you're a good cooker, whether you're a good dancer, whether you're good at playing ball, whatever it is, when you start e-products, you can financially start selling those on the market. And Diamond, you are the queen of that. You know that very well. You know how much money you can make with that. By the way, that $30,000 video, please mentor me because I want to figure out exactly how you made that video and how you did that. So I'll be booking a one-on-one with you about that. But basically, people, in all seriousness, I just broke down about 11 different passive forms of income that you can make just by investing 1% to 2% of your income every month into those. There are different forms to build wealth in America. And I like the stock market just because I find literally one click of a mouse, just because of the passive income that comes with it. And because it has a 50-year track record, I know that it works. It's never not lost money if you invest into a total stock market index fund that you can buy through Charles Schwab, Fidelity, or Vanguard. So that's a way, everybody, you can basically take your first steps. If you work in corporate America or you have your own business, invest into your 401k, your Roth IRA, the HSA, and start a brokerage account. And then when you start that business, create a SEP IRA with your children. Start a 529 and a SEP IRA. So start a 529 and a or UTMA, and just continue to invest a certain percentage of your income. And literally, you're going to die a deca millionaire if you put a certain percentage of your income into those accounts. So, yep, and they're tax efficient as well.
That is absolutely awesome. You guys make sure you follow Chris, because he has the whole game laid out on many levels on how you can build wealth. And it just sounds like these steps are so simple, but a lot of people need guidance where to start. So following him and his content, make sure you guys follow and subscribe to even Ricardo's channel. Make sure you tag into these people, because they can even spark ideas, even if you can't do it all, but maybe start step by step on building wealth. And one of the ways, the steps that I always I believe too, you know, when we talk about money, I just, for me, being faith, being a Christian principle faith. I don't know if you say Christianity. I see it that in Christ I move, I have my being. So I see being in Christ, and not so much as people saying a religion, but I feel like making money is spiritual. You know, like really, it's just a product of how you're serving other people. And I believe that just feeling what's intuitive, what you're called to, and what I just see that sometimes even biblically, a lot of things generationally that people learn from their family, you know, just dealing with Abraham, he was a herdsman, and you look at his son and you look at Jacob, that's just something that was in the family line. Jesus, like from Joseph, his father was a carpenter. And so from looking at my family line, real estate has always been there. And so for me, building generational wealth in the core of me, that's what calls to me. So I always look at generational wealth in the terms of, I believe that beautiful scripture we all talk about, the virtuous woman, Proverbs 31:10. And it said that woman took her skill. She had a skill set, and that's for anybody. You have a skill set of what she could do. And she was a fashionista. She was able to just take the best and had an eye for the best wool and the best products. And she made scarves. And from there, from that skill set, she built a business, because it said she hired damsels. So she was able to employ other people, but she just didn't stop there. She understood that her skill set alone will die with her. And it said from her profits that she searched out a field, and she became a real estate investor. She purchased a field, and with her proceeds, she began to invest long term. So that's what I was talking about, leveraging, making income. But then she searched out a field, and she began to plant a vineyard. How many people know that vineyards are generational wealth and is a business itself? To plant wine, to plant olive trees. She understood that her gift was going to die with her. And in order for her family to be able to have that generational wealth, it was real estate for her, and even farming. And Diamond, to tell you, you know, just land generational farms that we have, trees, you know, my father do that a lot with trees, cut trees. Just planting trees is a form of wealth. It's every, you know, he like 74 acres, and he will cut it in sessions, and it's like $60,000. And USDA, if y'all didn't know, if you just have raw land, will plant trees. Do y'all know that? So what's called to me is dealing in land. And so for me, with my kids, you know, it's been like rental properties, because I feel like in my generations, my mom owned land. On that side of the family, they always kind of own land, and it's land in both sides. So that's what I feel spiritually calls to me. So I invest in land. And for my kids also, like Ricardo saying, estate planning is very important. You don't want to get all of this stuff and the government actually come in at your death, make you pay taxes. So I do have life insurance. I used to be a life insurance agent, y'all. I think it's very important for you to pick the right. You don't have to get whole life, just a little bit for your burial, but you definitely want term. And once you get that term and your kids get to a certain age, you want to do like Ricardo's saying, set up trust, set up foundations, and move those assets there. And so that's one part of it. And as I always say, silver and gold, I just feel like that's got silver, gold, cattle on 1,000 hills, and land. I just work in that Abrahamic covenant for me. That's what I see. And I do, Diamond, to tell you, we have media. I do have a media company. So I am believing in media. This is a way I make my income. And just like that virtuous woman now, Hope is 3. Diamond's 27. Look at God. Hope is 3. And just like that woman, I'm able now to stay at home. So I just want to say for my women, you wait on God. God will bring you somebody. I seen it from both sides of being a single mom and now being married. But I want women to leverage y'all skill set so you can be at home with your kids. Life is so much better if you can start an at-home business and you can set up. I still pay in my quarters. I want y'all to know that I still have health insurance. I pay for my family, ADP. Diamond to tell you, she got her business. My business pay her business. My business pay her business. We both have 401ks. We also have all of these systems paying in quarters for my federal, paying into state, all of those things. And you guys, you can set up your own at-home business and get pay stubs. That's very bi-weekly, getting pay stubs, because now I can go to the bank and borrow. Catch it. Now I can go to the bank and borrow. I'm not self-employed. I work for a media company that also shares my Diamond and Faith name. So and a lot of the media is set up that way. So I just want to let you guys know that's the way I see things, and that's how I see the system of how of building generational wealth. And I'll land and come on up, y'all. Feel free to answer.
Yes. So actually, I have some individual questions for each person. Okay. I know Coco might. Okay, Coco, I'm going to add you back to the stage. My first question is actually coming from the comments section, and it's towards Ricardo. And the question was, how do you feel about day trading?
Yeah, I mean, so even in my, I have a crypto university, and I partnered with a multimillionaire crypto. He's been trading for, I don't know, since 2011. So he's a master trader. But we do trading in crypto. Yeah, that's a skill. It's not for everybody, but if you follow the right people, and you get the right training, it is something that actually frees a lot of people up and helps them make additional income. Day trading is a real skill. I like to follow the professionals. So that's why one of the reasons, I had connected, with that individual, and added it to my university for my students, because, once again, it comes down to additional streams of income. So if we can, have a master trader provide signals for us to be able to make trades in the market, we make the same trades that he makes, that's a good thing, in my opinion. But I mean, obviously, day trading is risky, because if you don't know what you're doing, you can lose money. People get liquidated all the time. So you just have to be aware of your risk, and manage it, manage your risk. But yeah, day trading is definitely an option that, quite a few people find a way very successful to get out of the rat race.
And I have another question for you, Ricardo.
Yeah.
people were asking, so people, let's say all they know is Bitcoin, or maybe they don't even know about Bitcoin. They just heard about cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Can you give areas of cryptos or which cryptos they should be investing in?
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I started MEMS University. So one of my other aliases MEMS is Make It Make Sense. So that's that's what I do when it comes to the blockchain and crypto space. So Make It Make Sense, MEMS University. That's what we do, blockchain and crypto education. And one of the things about people that you really have to understand is the blockchain, because people say crypto and you have this preconceived notion. You have this idea around that term, but it's really the technology. That's why the education is so important. It's the most valuable asset right now, understanding what the blockchain is, the use case of the blockchain, and how that's changing our world right now. And so when you look at the monetary system, a lot of certain cryptos, people talk about obviously Ripple with XRP. If you hear Donald Trump, telling you, and he's the president, whether you like it or not, he's saying we're going to be the crypto capital of the world. He's saying we're going to lead in AI. He's literally telling you to play to make money. He's telling you these are the industries, these are opportunities where growth. Okay, he has his own crypto, his World Crypto Financial, and then obviously when you see certain people like Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, and you hear the connections that these banks and governments and institutions are getting ready to use blockchain to do the movement of money. When you look at ISO compliant tokens, ISO 20022, which is a banking standard. When we look at how the world is going to move money, it's on the blockchain. But you have the opportunity to acquire the asset that they're going to be using to move that money, and they haven't even started using it yet. So a lot of it is still pennies, certain coins, even XRP sitting at like 250. So it's just that education. And that's what I teach, help people kind of get prepared for the new economy, because we have the old financial system that's going away. Old financial system is a dinosaur. It's done. And so there's a new financial system that's emerging. And so you kind of just want to be, diversify heads and balance for the two, the present system and the new system coming up.
Thank you for that. Thank you. The next question, I'm gonna do 2 questions per person, is going to be for Chris. And Chris, I wanted to know, if someone only had $500 to $1,000 to invest today, where should they put it to see real growth?
Got you. So that's a very easy question to answer. And I'm going to break it down like this. The expense ratios right now for a total stock market index fund is 0.01%. In English, that means for every $10,000 you make, people, you get charged $10. So $10 for every $10,000 that you make. Right now, the expense ratio for the average gold ETF is 1.5%. That means for every $10,000 you get charged $1,500. Mm-hmm. So $1,500, your money's getting taken versus $10. Which one sounds better? That's the first thing. Secondly, the average person that invests into an actively managed mutual fund only makes 4% over a 15-year period. 4%. The average person that invests into a total stock market index fund makes roughly 12 to 15% over that same 15-year period. So literally you are literally paying 150 times more money for an inferior product when you start investing into actively managed accounts that are managed by a hedge fund manager. Now, once again, this is not coming, I'm not pulling this out of out of the sky. These are certifiable facts. You can look them up. An actively managed account, on average, 99% of the time makes less money over a 20-year period than a passively managed index fund. So you should take that $1,000, go to Charles Schwab, go to Fidelity, or go to Vanguard if you got money, and invest it into that. That's the first thing. Secondly, in regards to Mr. Trump, that dude lost $8 billion in one day with his crypto coin. And his wife lost $1 billion as well with hers. So I'm not anti-crypto by any stretch of the imagination. I actually do have some crypto because I invest in the total stock market. And obviously AI is a portion of that. But what I'm saying, everybody, is this. I want you to Google the names like Sam Bankman-Fried. I want you to Google names like Ruja Ignatova or Carl Sebastian Greenwood. These are all crypto people that are literally looking at 25 years in prison because they were stealing people's accounts. And on top of that, just Google crypto right now. There's an Asian company right now that basically is under wraps because they stole $2 billion worth of people's accounts. So if Donald Trump is telling you basically to invest into crypto, this is the same guy that couldn't make money in the casino and basically got bankrupted on every business he's ever started. If he's telling you to go into crypto, I'm not saying don't go into it. What I'm saying is this: tread very carefully. A lot of times what I find when I talk to my boys in the hood, I talk to my family in the projects and stuff, a lot of times they want to push trying to get wealth very quickly. And crypto is unfortunately the thing that they go to because a lot of the times they don't know what they're doing. And as a result, they basically put a lot of money into something and they're enthusiastically ignorant and don't know exactly where it's going to go. So if someone had $500 to $1,000 to invest today, invest into a total stock market index fund. And why? Because you are literally buying the entire stock market. It's extremely diverse. The expense ratios are very low. They have an insanely good track record. Last year, I was making 28% for the index funds I was investing into, and my expense ratio was $0. So if you were to ask me where I put my money, I'm gonna tell you the same thing. Put that $1,000 into a total stock market index fund, or a total stock market index fund that tracks the S&P 500 every time. And if you do that and you watch your money grow, it consistently is going to go from 100,000 to $500,000 to $1 million to 10 million. That's what I'm gonna advise you to do.
Well, thank you for that, Ricardo. I don't know if you wanted to chime in or add anything there before we go on to the next one. But Chris, I had two questions for you, but you answered both of them. So I just want to give Ricardo a chance to.
Yeah, I would just say, that's why education is really important. There are different ways to get, to where you want to get to, and whoever's advice you listen to, recommendations, suggestions, opinion, it'll align with your spirit and you will go with that direction. The whole point is that you want to figure out how you can get ahead in this economy and prepare for what's to come. I mean, in regards to Donald Trump, that's why I always said that whether you like him or not, apparently he doesn't like Donald Trump. It has nothing, that wasn't even part of the conversation. Donald Trump did launch a meme coin. You see, that's where education comes in, because there are different type of blockchain technologies and cryptocurrencies out there. So, I mean, I don't feel like there's bash this or don't do that type of thing. What makes sense with you align to it, but just get educated. Manage your risk tolerance. Make sure you follow the right people who can give you the answers. And so you can do your due diligence. That's the most important thing. But the blockchain, you talk about scammers, and I mentioned Wall Street, but I didn't mention the CEOs of the banks and the companies that stole people's money. I didn't talk about the exposing of what Doge is doing right now. The same people. It's you can look on both sides and sit there and try to make these comparisons. It's pointless because it doesn't really help people get ahead. They want to find answers that's going to help them in their situation. So blockchain and crypto is real. It's helping a lot of people in this economy, millions of people. There are people who do get scammed. There are people who do use the blockchain and crypto for wrong, but that's the same thing in the traditional financial system. So, it's not this kind of point here, point there. It's just, find, the options that work for you, and just get educated. That's all. Just get educated. That's the best thing.
And if I can add, this is the point. Just I believe y'all both have very valid points on both sides. And just like even like Ricardo was saying, even in the stock market, it was, back in the day, penny stock. A lot of people invested in and they lost a lot of money in penny stock. So it, even you had to crash on Wall Street. This is why they have the thing. Real estate crash. You can't take all of what I say. You could lose your shirt in real estate. Let's not get it twisted. Okay. So this is why they have, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is the point. And so you want to only, you want to spread out your investments. You never know. What was that Ecclesiastic? It said, have 1, 2, 3, even 8, 7, 8 different, put your, merchants on many waters, because you never know when destruction would hit the land or bad fortune would hit the land. Hey, I was in real estate and they paused payments on the pandemic. I would have lost my shirt if I didn't have this going, if I didn't have a product of the elite credit system. So like they're saying, you want to get education, even in even buying real estate. It ain't all a home run. Many people have lost. Dave Ramsey, that's where he was in real estate, where he had to file for bankruptcy. So the thing is, you want to have a balance, and don't put all of your money nowhere. Don't put all of your money in the bank. Don't If you can, you want to expand your products. Diamond would tell you we have lean times. Even with doing the media, YouTube go up and down. You want to have, this is why we said multiple streams of income. And like both of these brothers are saying, education. And just because even with my concerns, I have concerns about the stock market. When I worked at Ford, I put a lot in that Ford stock. Maybe I wasn't as balanced, but I lost a lot of money, being in that stock. Crypto, I will say, inflation go up and down. Like, Bitcoin, you can put money here, it could go up, then it could drop, but this is why you spread your investments out. And like they said, you get educated, you learn, just like Ricardo said with the day trading, just like Chris is saying with the crypto. Please, y'all, in all that get some understanding. Get some understanding on how all of this works. And that's how you see it. So that's where I would say. Coco, do you want to comment?
I did want to get one more.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my fault. I just want to say, I tell people when you get into blockchain and crypto, if you haven't lost money or been scammed, you ain't been seasoned. That's how early we are to this space. So that's like that little disclaimer, little warning. But that's why it's important to follow the right people, get the right education. But the thing about the blockchain and crypto space is like the early 2000s with .com. There are people who, didn't believe in .com. There's people who didn't believe the internet. They thought it was a fad. And then there are people who invested in technology early on, and they invested in Amazon, they invested in Google, Netflix, Berkshire Hathaway or whatever, the FANG stocks, right? And they're doing very well 10, 20 years later. They created generational wealth. They don't have to ever work again. They got Apple stock. It's the same thing with blockchain and crypto right now. You have people who, the banks have been fudding it. They've been, telling people they wouldn't touch it, but the whole time that they've been studying it, they're using it. Okay. They're getting ready to, onboard it to everybody. That's the thing about blockchain and crypto. It's not an option. It's just like it's not an option for you to use Visa or MasterCard. You went from cash to checks, and then next thing you know, you're using plastic, Visa, MasterCard. The financial system is getting upgraded. You don't have a choice to use the blockchain. You're either going to use the blockchain for your benefit, right? Or the blockchain is going to be using you. So, that's the thing about being early. People who are early to innovation, they're the ones who normally, stick their head out and they take the good and the bad. But they're the one who benefit long term because they caught on to something that the rest of the world was late to catch on to. And so that's what a lot of people in blockchain and crypto are realizing as they get educated, as they see the information that the bankers and the institutions, what they're doing with the technology, and say, oh, hold on, there's something here. This is not just some speculative space where people are getting scammed. This is actually real technology where the actual elite, the banks and industries are actually getting ready to move all their money onto and have everybody onboarded on. It's a totally different reality once we get there. But those who see it early on, those are people who invest in it early and are going to benefit massively and create massive generational wealth. So there's a little clarity there.
Yes. Well, thank you. I love that, and again, in honor of Black History Month too, it just shows that we have diversity of thought. Everybody here is super intelligent, super knowledgeable in every sector, and so it's a great thing that you never agree with everybody about everything, so it's wonderful to see.
I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. I was about to say fight back.
I was thinking that too. But
Chris came out with the child. I like that. Y'all know I watch battle rap too sometimes. Like, yeah.
I love it too. I love it too because it creates great dialogue, and that's what's needed for people to really grasp the magnitude and the options of what's available. That type of discourse is best for the audience, because it allows them to get a better understanding. So it's good. I love it.
And it doesn't mean any side, because even with politics, people are very triggered, but you want balance. You don't always want everything on one side because some things you don't like. But in all of these things, yes, administrations actually, you want to follow what's going on with the policies so you know how to invest, because investing is in seasons. Like Chris was saying, there's the S&P. it has a track record of actually just in its performance. So like he was saying, you know,
8%.
just going with Charles Schwab by yourself without having asset managers, he just gave you the numbers that you're going to triple down on your numbers compared to having that fund to actually be managed where they just rob you out of all those fees. So he is right. And like you said, the long term, most millionaires are made over the age of 50. So a lot of people are coming at things to getting, rich really quick. But like he's saying, investment is a long term strategy. And so it is good to hear both, sides of thought. I really enjoy, just the different sides. So we really appreciate it.
Yes. So I have a question. I'm gonna go
Wait,
on.
let Coco let Coco answer. Sorry,
Oh, I'm sorry, Coco.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, I wanted to. I had a question for
No,
Coco.
no, Coco, do you want to answer? Are you
No, I think I mean they filled me up with I'm
okay?
still
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine.
processing
I'm just
everything that
sorry.
they said. I'm digesting. So
Okay,
yeah, let's give them something else if you like, Diamond.
yes. So Coco, I think I have 3 questions for you, but I'm going to start with the first one.
Okay.
So there was actually a few questions about songwriting and recording. Do you have any tips when it comes to making money in the music industry, and how did you get started? I mean, like the bare basics. We had a question I just want to put up from Sunshine. She said, I write songs, but I don't know how to record. Can I get some heads up? And she also asked about how does one, oh, she was asking how does one record a song? But if you could talk about how to make money in that space.
Okay. So to make money in the space, my immediate suggestion is to make sure you take once it's recorded and distribute it on the major platforms. I tend to recommend TuneCore because I learned from experience. I'm not a person that lends advice on areas that I'm not polished in or that I'm not already in a scenario where I've done the comparisons to get the results oriented achievements that you like. So I start with TuneCore. I have clients that I've represented in public relations that have released on CD Baby and DistroKid, and they seem to be happy in some areas, and some areas are challenging. But if you're going to release a song after it's recorded, the first thing you want to do, you want to copyright it. You want to get a publisher. And that could be BMI, which is free of charge. You just start a BMI account with no money, and then you list your songs to let them know how long the song is, 3.5 minutes. For example, if you wrote it, if there's another writer or composer who's ever making the track, everybody name goes there. If you own it 100%, it's just your name attached to the song in the BMI publishing. And then you can actually release it, right? So you don't want to put it out there before it's got encryptions, and you don't want to put it out there before it's got copyrights and a publisher. The publishing is important because after you release the song, say like you go on TuneCore and you may pay, it may be 19.99 now for one single. That's one song. And if you do an album, I think it's about 49. Don't quote me. The rates have changed in the past year. But if, for example, you did an album, maybe you have 15 songs, an album to release is going to run you about 49. Okay. But either way, once it's released, it starts to pay you in so many ways: downloads, monetization. You could get sync licensing. And don't worry about all these terms. If you become a TuneCore member, which it's free to sign up, but it's not free to release. So that's the $10 we talked about, right? The power of music, money, and monetization. Once you sign up for your free TuneCore account or any of the other platforms, then you can start uploading music for a small fee, and then they will collect the money for you and they will deposit it into your account. You don't have to collect. That's the beautiful thing about having a major distributor for pennies on the dollar. They do the job of finding where your music is playing, whether it's on the internet, YouTube, somebody's website, a radio station jingle. If it's playing in the club or someone's performing it, you can get mechanical royalties, performance royalties if someone wants to license it for a stage play or a movie. Movie scores and soundtracks, jingles, right? You can even do ringtones. They still do ringtones. So your song can be a ringtone. So start with an account where you can distribute it for a small fee, and then promote the song, dear. You have to promote the song. I always tell people, God bless, but like Michael Jackson, if his dad didn't take him out of the house and his brothers, the Jackson Fives, to do these talent shows, they would have never been discovered as great as they are and were. It's no way to be discovered if you're not promoting. So if you're in a position to promote it, here I go, stick in the mud, and we're not doing that anymore, because that's why you got the giants, the music giants. You put it out to them, they can help you to have it internationally. By the way, my music is in 152 countries in real life. And I look at my analytics to see how many streams in each of the 152 countries. And I did it all through self help. I taught myself the things that I needed to know. And then I looked to my entertainment attorney. I looked to mentors, radio station sales execs, and programming directors. And as they were giving me information, I was consuming. And then what I do, with my magazine, I go share it with people. Hey, artists, if you want to know about the music, buy my book in the magazine. I can't reach everybody at the same time, but you can get the information out, which is another source of passive income. So just like your books are money, the music is money. And in the Power of Music, Money and Monetization, I actually break down in 67 pages the information that you need step by step. I give examples of 3 music platforms. I tell you about the quality of music, how to record music, where, who to hire, production, and just building a portfolio in your music catalog.
That was a really good breakdown, and that leads me into my next question, because
Can we, while we got Coco, can you also highlight, like we said in the beginning, how did you get the connection with the Billboard? Because I think that ties into the music. Because one thing Coco was doing with artists she was managing, even with Diamond, she went, like she said, to get your music out there. She was lining up events where they got exposure. So
Yeah.
if you can tap into the Billboard and maybe segue a little bit of just your mindset, because we seen her in real time.
Oh, yeah.
This is while we was traveling,
Yeah.
placing artists, play
So,
this,
yeah.
you can be seen. So maybe you could just touch on that. I know that's a
Yeah.
lot.
No, yeah, that's a big deal though. And I'm glad you said that, because we were talking about promotion. So billboards are a source of branding. People like to think that everything is going to be a conversion kind of rate. Billboards are more for brand awareness and notoriety sometime, but the repetition is how you get the message out. So for billboards, that is another source of passive income for some people. And for some of us, it's marketing, branding, advertising, and promotion, right? So if are you talking about in the space of making money from billboards, or artists getting on billboards?
Or how you broke it, that relationship to get on, because you yourself was
Okay.
on a billboard.
Yeah. So in I say between 2000, well, 2022 to 2023, I featured on 30 billboards between New York and Texas and Louisiana, Atlanta, Florida. So I did do a 30 billboard campaign, and the billboard relationships, I had approached 4 different companies. The first company, um, they they gave me the rates that are standard. I wasn't surprised about it, but I was like, oh, this might be the only time I could ever do this. That was in 2016, and I think I paid as an artist in a brand. I paid about 2,500 to run that for a month, and it was in front of the Louisiana Superdome, and so that was a wow factor for me. But I was like, I can't afford to do that like frequently, like every month or whatever. But later on, I realized that I can get billboards by working and negotiating. So then the next time I went in with negotiations, and what I found out is that you can pay almost anything you want if you have the guts to speak up for yourself. It's real estate. Okay. If this company can't give it to you for your price, go to the next and go to the next until you get the price. And if for any reason, this has never happened to me, I thank God, but if for any reason you can't get the price you want, then now you have leeway to start saving money for your campaign because you have the knowledge. You have compared to 4 different real estate / billboard space companies, and now you can prepare and you'd have an assessment between the 4 what they're offering. I'm sorry, space, location, the volume and the duration of the runs, and how long it's going to run. If it's going to be digital, is it 8 seconds per slide? Is it 15 seconds per slide? And then how many days, how many months, and do you have to do a 1-year contract? Do you have to do a quarterly contract? It's very rare that people will let you do a 1-month contract, but you can find that. It depends on what you're looking for and what city and what billboard company. But honey, pick up the phone and start asking questions, and don't take no for an answer.
That is awesome. And so she just gave us, the art of the deal right there. Like she's saying, she negotiates. So that is awesome. And if you don't know, just to tie into that music part, that is what she does, is a lot with contracts to get artists out there. And she was branding. So like she's saying, me and Diamond understand dealing with a lot of times advertisers. Some of them, just like Coco said, want brand awareness as a campaign. A lot of y'all don't know DoorDash was losing money. Even I think Ricardo touched on it with the .com. Amazon was starting in 1998 or something. They was losing money for years. There's a lot of companies that go out and borrow on these business loans just to advertise for brand awareness. And so that's what she's saying. Even with your music, for people to buy it, to be known, you have to bring awareness. And so we say this all the time. YouTube is free. TikTok is free. If y'all not leveraging these places to make money, you're missing out. Yeah. So you can go with your next question, Diamond. Thank you, Coco. That was
Coco. While we're approaching 2 hours, I just want to say to all of the panelists, thank you guys so much for coming. If any of you have to leave out, then we completely understand. I know we got children and everything, so just let us know if y'all need to dip out. That is okay. And
we'll land the plane. We'll just make sure. Thank you so much. If y'all have to go, please, because a lot of y'all are on, the East Coast. So I just thank you. And if you want to just tiptoe out, let us know, and just put your finger, and we'll let you guys, exit out, and just let people know in the audience where they can find you.
Yeah. Ricardo, do you have to dip out?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Awesome. So Mom, I have 2 questions for you. One is on real estate. The second will land on credit.
Okay.
I have a specific question. I'm trying to figure out how to frame it, but I want you to maybe give advice or speak to people that are under 40, specifically in the real estate, that want to do real estate investing or have lost the luster for real estate investing. I think a lot of women and a lot of people in my age bracket feel as though investing in real estate is unattainable and is something that they might not ever be able to do. So we get used to renting. But can you talk about some of the things that we can start to do to prepare for real estate investing, and what to do with limited capital and maybe even bad credit as well, or subpar credit?
One of the greatest ways is raw land. So I think a lot of people don't understand, if you buy raw land, do you know you can take that to the bank and leverage that to build as a down payment? I think if you want to keep it as simple, think about Monopoly. What did they do when you get in to win the game? You buy the land first, and then you develop it. So a lot of you guys, if you want to build, now it does depend on the market that you're in. You can start in many areas with raw land. And a lot of people look down on it if you're from certain areas, but mobile home is a great way to start your home buying journey. Like, you can get used mobile homes, and they are real easy to actually fix up And that can be where you start. One thing about a mobile, and a lot of these mobiles are much different now. When you go into those mobile homes, you don't need a strong credit score. Even when you go to those dealers, you can buy used ones. If you own the land, you can pretty much get it turnkey. And a lot of that financing is not a mortgage, it's like a car loan because they don't seed it. And so if you're not getting it seeded, your taxes don't change. One thing about, building on and developing a property, your tax rate changes. But with mobile homes, they are not seeded. And so you're really just paying for the land where your taxes can be much cheaper. So that's one way if you're in a rural area. And those are ways that you can, if you have family that have land, maybe putting a mobile or getting permission and maybe working out a deal to buy their land in payments while your mobile is there. You can set up a contract. Or I also was telling somebody today, they were particularly in Oklahoma. If you buy acres, you can buy acres of land and maybe a quarter of an acre. You make sure you etch that out and then you leverage that with the banks. So if anything happened where you might lose that home, you never know, those other acres do not get wrapped in, with the loss. And half an acre is a really nice property to build on. And so, that's one way you can invest. There's different ways now with land. You can lease land out. If you have land, it's people with cattle, like looking in, even in Jersey, there's people that rent other people with cattle. There's a lot of young people now that want to be farmers, but they can't afford the land. So if you can buy the land and you can set up structured payments and take out a loan to purchase the land, then you could turn around and lease it while you're somewhere else or getting ready. And that can be wind. So, now green energy, some places, a lot in Texas, looking at that, they have wind vines. So there's different ways that you can make money off of land like that. Hunting. My father always get offers for hunting. Now with a lot of states, even with growing weed, a lot of people need land. If they have that, they want to grow cannabis. They don't control that. You have to look at your state. But some people want to lease. You just got to make sure you know about whatever your state rules with that. But you can lease that out. Diamond have a video on Neighbor. You can make money off of raw land just by having people to park on that land, depending on where it is. If that usage, especially if it's not in the city, sometimes if you do have a home and have a driveway, you can lease that out. Or vacant land, you can throw up a pole barn that's really cheap, or some kind of other storage where people can tractor trailers. So land is a good way. And like I said, if you're in urban areas, a high price area, like with me in Jersey, where I started with multifamily, 3 units. You can still get an FHA loan with 4 units. So you can live in that unit and then the other 3 with cash flow. So now a single family home, you cannot write off your property taxes. You cannot write off your insurance. If you get a multifamily, that is a write-off. And I know people are bothered by Donald Trump, but gosh darn it, I love it when he get in office. I'm in real estate. Last time, 100,000 and better as a write-off. You can write off a lot depending on who's in office. So a lot of times y'all got to look at that. Instead of you working in a single family home is a liability. Your mortgage payments is not a write-off. And you got to think about that. A lot of that is a benefit. Do I even want to pay off my multifamilies? Not really. No, I want to leave that money there because it's a write-off. If I don't have taxes, that's not a write-off. I mean, a mortgage, that's not a write-off I can use to my benefit. And so some of those things you want to think about. If you can't afford a home in your area, You must look like at a starter home, and you can get a multifamily, a duplex. Maybe you have to kick some in, but you can keep that home. And now when you buy another home, that single family home, this home, the rental income is now paying for that home, and you qualify for more because that's a cash producing asset. Unlike, you ain't got to need another job. So if you don't have a spouse, I didn't. This became my spouse because now I can show I make money. So now for that single family, I could show more annual income I can qualify for because now I have rental income. So you might need to look at that. I just say just research your own market. If you go the multifamily route, that is good for a single person. You can live rent free, but just watch out for your landlord tenant laws. I tell y'all, if it's blue and landlord tenant, I mean with landlording, if it's blue, it ain't for you. If it's red, you better go ahead. Red states is where it's at. If you're gonna be a landlord, get mad, but that's what it is. Blue is terrible. Okay, I'm sorry. It's not just in your favor. And some of y'all get mad about politics, but get mad, boo-boo. You're going to be mad and broke. If you don't know how to play where you are, that's what we tell y'all in this business stuff. Some of y'all live in certain states like California. You ain't got no business starting a business there. Sometimes depending on what you into. You might better start that business in another state and be a foreign entity where you live, or maybe not be set up where you live at all. And you got to get out of your feelings. Your feelings will keep you broke. Jeff Bezos is one of the biggest liberals, but his butt is down in Florida. Why? Because they changed up in what is it? What in Washington, wherever he was, they changed a law that would have cost him $650 million a year. He was out. Deuces. Elon Musk left California. Deuces over his business. These are some of the richest people in the United States. If they can move and they can live anywhere they want, you ain't thinking about that? They can afford to live there. Because when I'm telling y'all, a lot of this petty stuff, you better learn how to move with stuff. I just dropped that video and I'm trying, a lot of people get triggered. I'm trying to tell you, no matter who's in office, you know, it's not about who in that White House. It's about what's going on in your house. Stop playing. It's not about the White House. It's about your house. And you better look at your local elections. That's what you want to look at. And your local state laws. There are some moves, if you in certain states, that it's just not going to go well for you. If I am in Texas and I want to be an oil tycoon, it's probably not going to happen. You know why? That market here, it's going to be all wrapped up. So you want to make moves. Some of y'all, if it's too high where you are at to own a home, you might better look somewhere else if you want a home. Okay. Do you want a home? Because I have to tell a lot of people that. Or do you want to shine around people you know? Do you really not want a home? You got to think about what's in your good. And some of these states, like I'm just going to touch this. You can make $100,000. I use this in San Francisco and be living in your car, $100,000 a year. And be living in your car. So maybe your butt need to move. Maybe you might not like Oklahoma, but you know what? They might not have a lot of degrees. They might not have a lot of engineers. That might be a perfect place for you to get money. You see what I'm saying? So you have to think about that with real estate investment. Look at where you at. Look at the hand you're dealt. And then do that with that situation. But try to set up, if you're a young person, maybe you can do glamping. There's all types of things. Some people want rural land just to get away. And so you can set up Yeah, I seen glamping sites. They just got a dang gone tent out there. And a poor people want to poop outside. If you got the right piece, I know you seen that, Diamond, right? Or one of those compounded. Some people really want to poop outside. They really want the experience. They'll be paying the mint for glamping. You know that glam site, me and you, I did for y'all. It was $500 a night for the glamping experience. Some of y'all could get some money if you get some raw land, set up a glamp site, and maybe one day you want to build there or you can sell. So that's the way I see. And also tiny homes. Tiny homes might be a new way with raw land. Some of y'all go to Home Depot and get one of them little tough sheds and mac it out. But going back, if you really want that, instead of throwing your money away in rent, a lot of millennials are choosing to move to other states that are more conducive, where if they're in the state, they want a family where they can really afford to buy a home. And what you can build, certain states don't allow for certain types of buildings. You're not going to catch a barnuminium in New Jersey. It's just not, or New York City. It ain't happen. But somewhere like Texas is on and popping. You can get you a little mini mansion, all right, for pennies on a dollar. So I hope that I laid that out. I know some people might be mad. Hey, it is what it is. But you better think about that, because you're going to be mad and broke sitting around in your feelings. It's not about that White House. You better focus about your house. And I don't care what they're doing. You better move accordingly. That's all I'm just saying, because time and chance happen to all of you. But one thing you gotta have to do, you got to understand the times and seasons that you in. All right, that's what you want. When Biden was in, green energy was where it's at. Do you think green energy is where it's at? No. And when the pandemic was popping, Pfizer and Moderna stock was where it's at. You see what, for that season? Now they looking to try to sue folks. I don't know how they trying to get some suit going, but I'm just telling you. So you want to study the market, study, really study the win on what you in. And it's the same thing about real estate. Study it. It's a way to get in, but just look at different ways of doing it. I'll land.
Thank you for that. And then my last question for you would just be a credit question. And I want to ask, if someone is either starting with no credit or if they have really bad credit, what is the number one thing that you would tell them to attack first or to look at first to improve that?
Number one, understand individually for you what is wrong with your individual credit. So it's just like a report card. When you were back in school, high school, you got English, math, then you may have science, and then elective and gym. Those 5 areas build up your GPA. If you're failing math, you're probably not going to graduate. It's going to bring your GPA down. If you're failing English, it's going to bring you down. So that's payment history and utilization. Those are your big boys. And so if you were failing in these classes, you would go to that teacher and find out, what can I do? Can I get rid of that grade? Can I retest? That's your deletion. Can you get rid of that? Can you just wipe it off? Or sometimes they'll say, well, that grade is what it is, but you can do some extra credit. Your extra credit could be some trade lines. Now, trade lines, you might can piggyback off of somebody else good credit history, add on as an authorized user, or you can find some credit builders, or even with that utilization grade credit cards to increase your credit score. But you need to find out where you're failing at. What is bringing down that score? Just like when you was in high school, if your GPA is in the gutter, you're going to find out, where am I failing? And you want to fix that area. And so that's where you want to start. Find out individually Your credit report is, your credit report is really your financial report card. Find out in when these 5 categories what's going on and what you want to do. Where am I failing at? Where's my problems? And then we can substitute in with some extra credit, or let's just remove that grade. I hope that helps.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. So we're gonna start closing now. As we're closing, if anybody has any last minute questions or anything like that in the chat, please let us know. But I just want to go around. First of all, I want to thank everybody so much for joining, and we had great discussions tonight. And I just want to go around and give everybody a brief chance just to tell us where we can find you. How can we stay connected to you? In any last closing words? And again, we are doing this in honor of Black History Month. So if there's anything encouraging that you want to leave off with everyone here. So I'm going to start with Coco. And then from Coco, we'll go to Ricardo, we'll go to Chris, and then we'll go to my mom, and we'll close out here.
Well, again, thank you, Diamond, Sherry. It was nice meeting the two of you gentlemen as well. I've learned so much. I feel like I'm ready to go in some areas that I didn't know so much about. And for me, if you're interested in either purchasing my books or learning more about what it is I do, even publishing with the magazine, certainly do go to my website. It's Succeed and Get Money. The word succeed and A&D, getmoney.com. And there are submission forms that you can complete there to inquire with me. The biggest thing that I wanted to tell you guys that I'm excited about today is as of March 15th, I'm starting a new entity, and this was by suggestion of my son. This year marks 20 years since I left accounting, and I'm going to be opening a accounting firm. And it's I always said I wouldn't do accounting for anyone else, but never did I know I would be doing it for myself. And the reason for that is because I'm learning more about the entrepreneurial journey and the needs that everyone has. Some of the things that, and there's a gem at the end for everyone here on the panel, because I realize that, like Diamond said, we can't do everything. But one of the things that I realize is with entrepreneurs and with this being Black History Month, we don't have the tools. A lot of people are gatekeeping. And then most of us, because of the blessing of the evergreen cash, we're going digital with everything. So I am, just for a period of time, going to work with up to 2,000 talents, businesses, startups, independent artists, and as well brick and mortars. I want to make sure that the accounting and bookkeeping is proper, that everything you need to know about credit, which we can lean on my girlfriend, Sherry, everything you need to know about building passive income, where maybe Diamond can share a note or two and they can opt into your services. This is where we collaborate collectively. Those that are looking into investments and stocks and the gold, and I'm going to lean on you. Gentlemen, if we can stay in touch, I would certainly link you and your links to a portal, and that way people can understand how to get with you and contract your services. My goal is to bring awareness in a full, well-rounded capacity. And while I'm going to do services that are based on small business bookkeeping and tax prep, teaching them about grants and how to get them and providing grant listing, whether it's financial literacy in areas that they lack. Someone that has a question should be able to ask a question to a real person in real time. And it doesn't always have to be in one facet. And some people are not readers, some people are hands on. So I'm creating a space specifically, and I've already built a team of 5. And 2 individuals will spearhead the New Orleans new location, and 2 in Atlanta. And I will be Mother Goose over them both. And we'll make some stuff that's virtual and that's readily available in a timeless manner, so people can move at their own pace, and even at midnight if they want to learn, they can. But the goal is for them to come into the office, have a sit down, ask their questions, and get the money the real way. So if anyone is interested, again, this will launch on March 15th, both offices, satellite wise. And then in the meantime, the submissions will go live on March 1st. In the meantime, like if you want to stay connected with me in the next couple of days, then the best thing is to go to succeedandgetmoney.com. I'd love to answer any questions you have and get you on the mailing list. And again, I'm going to lean on the professionals like Sherry and Chris and Diamond. What's the other gentleman's name?
Ricardo.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ricardo.
Ricardo, yes, such a unique name. I should know that. I love Lucy. But I'm sorry, I do love the show. But y'all are so brilliant. And I hope that we can band together culturally and collectively to make things happen for not only ourselves, because we got to do that, but others. We are a wealth of knowledge.
That is awesome. Congratulations, Coco, and forward me the information. We will definitely be connecting.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
And then Ricardo, any closing?
Yeah. Oh man, I'm honored to be here. Honestly, the panel was just tea all night long. I mean, this was powerful live stream. I definitely got to go back and watch this myself, probably a couple of times over. Just so much knowledge and gems being dropped. And so I'm honored, and Ms. Coco, I definitely will be reaching out to you. Always excited to partner and collaborate, and help people get ahead. Because in this economy right now, I've said it before, but nobody's coming to save you. You can't rely on the government, for reparations or something of that nature. You got to get it yourself. And, so that's why, if you want to get in contact with me, just go to www.runwithrick.com. That's my website. I got a free ebook in there. And also all my socials are plugged in there, and you can reach out to me. But yeah, what I would say is that, in regards to the gold and silver, one of the aspects I wanted to also just touch on is that, this is how you can actually build generational wealth and preserve your wealth without exposing it to risk. It's the only asset that actually does that. Gold is that tier 1 asset with zero risk associated to it. So I say that for those who have a low risk tolerance when it comes to trading or crypto or whatever have you. That's why gold and silver is always that steady real asset, saying that provides the financial security for you and your family. So but yeah, definitely reach out to me on my social medias. And like I said, I'm honored to be here, and I think it was a great show, great information that was provided.
Thank you. And then Chris, if you could let us know your closing thoughts and how we can stay in contact with you.
Yeah, first off, Diamond, it was a pleasure meeting you at FinCon. That was a phenomenal experience. So thank you. And thank you for inviting me to this platform and this forum. I thoroughly enjoyed every second that I was here. You can find me, everybody, check out my website, www.therealfinancipation.com. You can check me on Instagram, @thereal_financipation. You can check me on Spotify, Financipation. My TikTok is Financipation, just like it spells in that sign and as it's spelled on my hoodie. Check out my financial blog as well. In regards to e-products, I have a scholarship book that I showed you guys earlier on Amazon. I would show you the actual physical copy, but I mailed a few of them out to my family members earlier this week. And additionally, check out my financial blog as well, Financipation. And on top of that, I'm also going to be dropping an e-product very soon. That's going to be about 6 to 8 hours of content that's going to come directly from me. And I'm going to walk you through what I spent $150,000 learning in grad school. I'm giving it to the people who purchase that e-product, and it will turn you into a millionaire. Closing thought as well. If you invest $1,000, if you put $1,000 into a brokerage account and you invest $1,000 every month into it, in a total stock market index fund that tracks the entire total stock market, and that returns roughly 12%, and you will have $1.1 million in 20 years. So that's literally as simple as hitting click every once a month. So in every year, you'd spend 1 hour checking the stock market, and I just taught you how to be a millionaire. Another thing I would like to say as well, everybody, I didn't touch about this earlier. I fought in rings and cages all over the world, boxing, kickboxing, doing mixed martial arts. Take care of your body. Your body is arguably your number one vehicle and tool to get wealthy. And one of the things I find a lot in corporate as well as in entrepreneur space is that people just don't take care of their body. And if God blesses you with an $100,000 a year career and you die at 40, you just cost your family $2.5 million because you died 25 years prematurely because retirement age is 65. So take care of your body, everybody. And Ms. Coco, I definitely want to reach out to you because half my cousins want to be rappers and singers and stuff. And I know you know the industry way better than I do. And these guys and these women, they got talent, but they're just not, it ain't working for them. So I want to reach out to you. And kind of get your brain about how to do it. And I would love to do some financial one-on-ones with all of you as well, because I can turn you into a millionaire very simply. So that's it for me, Diamond. And thanks. And yeah, let's definitely link up, because I want to find out how you made $30,000 off that one video. We gotta do that, okay?
Yes, for sure, for sure.
No, Chris, we gotta have you back. Yo, you got jokes. Yo, y'all, this was an awesome panel. We gotta have y'all back. We might want, I might put it out here. We want to do this once a month or something. If y'all want to bring whatever to the people. Chris, if you can, text Diamond the link to your Amazon book so we can drop it here, because I put it here. Coco, your link to your book, your Amazon. I asked you for that. Chris, send us your Amazon link.
Okay.
If you, Ricardo, have any books, if not, brother, we got to get you a book on how much game you've been spitting. You need a book.
I'm sending it to you right now, okay?
Okay, please. And we want to get these links to the people so they can get y'all information, and I will be dropping it. I just want to say thank y'all so much. This was super, for me, it was super awesome just to share this information. Please, if y'all welcome, let me know if y'all want to come back, and we would love to do a panel even with relationship, maybe next month, just talking about, because all of you guys, you know, Diamond is single, but that's a great perspective for all of you guys to talk about being parents, relationship, and how y'all build wealth in your with your significant other. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of us, you may have a counterpart, and we talked, me and Diamond talked about this, opposite attract. You might be the financial one, and that other person may not be that financial one. They might keep the, you know, household together because they are a relationship person and those things. And how do you navigate through that? So I would love to hear y'all perspective on that. If you want to come back, we'll definitely chop it up, and y'all maybe can share, you know, how to navigate to still build wealth for your family, but also try to keep your relationships. So I don't, you know,
Yes.
if y'all want to
The number one financial thing you can do to build wealth is marry the right woman if you're a man. So I mean, yeah.
And we'll talk about that. See, now we're about to get messy. What is the right woman?
This is getting exciting.
Proverbs 31 woman.
See, that we gotta find her. We gotta find her.
Yeah.
So we can discuss that. I think that's another thing, because a lot of people don't understand divorce is the way that you're gonna lose half of your wealth. I'm just saying, child support is a lot of ways that people are financially suffering, like men with that going on their credit reports, you know, like just co-parenting and, you know, really not having resources together. And number one way of divorce, I believe, is finances. It go back and forth with infidelity, but I believe financial is the number one. So, you know, just sharing insight on ways to navigate that, it may help people on that view. If you guys, if we do a panel on that, so hopefully that would help. So thank you, everyone. Diamond, I'll let you close out, and thank you, guests, once again.
Yes. So just housekeeping stuff. This live will be available on replay, I think, on everybody's social medias that are connected right now. We will leave everybody's links in the description box, and we'll remind you in the pinned comment that you can find the links in the description box. And we just want to thank everyone. Please sign up for the Elite Credit System and reach out to any one of us that is here. You can find me on YouTube, Diamond Chanel, and I should pop up for you. And yeah, thank you guys so much. And thank you to all the panelists that are here. I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Diamond, post that link for the book, okay?
I got
okay, yes, we got
send
you.
links. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your night.
Take care. All right.
Thank you.
Take
care.
care.
Have a good one. Have a good one, ladies. Take care, Ricardo. Peace.